Hey guys, it's Paradise, and if you're looking for a new MMO, then you're in luck as there are quite a few interesting ones on the horizon, and recently, a highly anticipated MMO just got its gameplay reveal, so it's time to take a look at exactly what this one brings to the table. During the reveal, we got information on classes, the overall concept, and gameplay features that are coming in this new version, so let's not waste any time, and you can let us know what you think of the game after we tell you all about it here. However, as a quick disclaimer, for some reason, the devs chose to reveal their new MMO gameplay in a small window, so we will be using that to give some context as well as the new trailer footage. For those that didn't play Aion, it was known for being one of the first MMOs to fully commit to having your character fly, as well as at the time having crazy graphics because it was on CryEngine, making it look insane. Now the developers are back and they're saying that Aion 2 is their complete vision and everything they wanted to do with Aion but couldn't because of the hardware limitations of the time. So what is Aion 2? According to the developers, Aion 2 is designed to both carry forward and expand on the legacy of the original Aion. The game is set 200 years after the events of the first game in a world where the Tower of Aion has collapsed and the Devas have fallen from power. It's being developed by NCSoft for PC and mobile, and the developers are emphasizing that the game is being developed for PC as the main platform and then ported to mobile, so it won't have features and things like auto combat. The game is scheduled for release in 2026, but some regions like Korea will be getting an earlier release in the second half of 2025 before the global version. One of the core things about Aion was the PvP or factions, and while the team initially planned to leave out familiar factions like the Ilios and Asmodeans, they later chose to bring them back, recognizing that this core conflict is a key part of what defines the Aion experience. That said, they didn't want to make it simply feel like a black and white battle between good and evil. So with that in mind, the devs have opted for an interesting setup for the servers. Aion 2 is set up so that the factions are separated across servers. Ilios and Asmodeans will play on entirely different servers, and they'll face off against each other through periodic matchmaking events designed for faction versus faction battles. Beyond that, they've said that the game will include mechanics for crossing dimensions, which sounds really cool as it allows players to invade the opposing faction's territory. If you have played a recent From Software game, we're thinking it could be something similar to invading in those games, just on the scale of an MMO, which could be super cool. Another big highlight is the return of flying though, and it looks like it will be getting a big upgrade. Aion 2 will feature a world said to be 36 times larger than the original, and this time players can fly freely anywhere without the old restrictions tied to terrain or space. The devs are saying that it opens up much greater freedom of movement and promises a more dynamic combat experience that spans the land, sea, and air. For any of you older gamers out there, did any of you pick up Aion just for the flying? I remember it was one of the main reasons that we played it back in the day, which is so funny looking back on it as flying in games is now kind of a trivial thing. The developers have also shared details about the game's 8 launch classes. While the original Aion was heavily influenced by World of Warcraft, this time Aion 2 draws more inspiration from modern PC MMORPGs and action games, which brings some changes to the class design. Here's what the classes are and what we know about them currently. You have the Gladiator, a sub-tank that uses lifesteal and area of effect attacks to control groups and sustain in fights. You have the Templar, the main tanking class, equipped with a shield and strong defensive abilities to hold the front line. The Assassin, that specializes in burst damage through stealth and rear attacks, with a heavy focus on positioning. The Ranger, a ranged class that uses bows to deal damage safely from a distance. The Spirit Master, focusing on solo combat using summoned spirits to assist and overwhelm enemies. The Sorcerer, a high damage magic caster, delivering explosive spells to wipe out targets. Then there's the Cleric, the main healer, keeping allies alive with strong restorative abilities. And the Enchanter, a hybrid support class that blends healing with utility buffs and enhancements. On the PvE side, Aion 2 will offer a range of content including solo dungeons, 4-player dungeons, 8-player dungeons, and dynamic field events. This is great to hear as we love the different scale for multiplayer content, and something that may make you happy if you ground out the original is that there will be returning dungeons from the original, as they have named the Temple of Fire as a returning dungeon and a fan favorite from the original game. To go along with the PvE and PvP content, it's also revealed improvements to dungeons and the matchmaking system. Party matchmaking will work on a global server basis, making it easier to form groups. If someone drops out mid-dungeon, the game will support replacements to keep things moving smoothly. There's even an easy mode designed for newer and undergeared players, offering quest and guide support to help them learn enemy placements, mechanics, and boss patterns. Hopefully this actually helps the player base get up to speed as well. There really isn't anything more annoying than getting stuck and wasting a bunch of time in a dungeon because someone is struggling with basic mechanics. Now, while we didn't learn much about the overall combat, we know that there will be general improvements and upgrades, as another system the team highlighted is rear hit detection, a new addition designed to boost responsiveness and the tempo of combat. The lead developer explained that they wanted to capture the tactile feel of combat by combining rear hit detection with near-no targeting mechanics, giving players the thrill of manual controls and action-heavy gameplay. Mounts were also covered during the developer stream though. Players can obtain mounts by collecting fragments dropped by field monsters, which can then be assembled to summon the related mount. It seems that there will be hands-on for Korean players soon though, as they've announced the schedule for Aion 2's focus group test, the FGT. This is a small test where selected testers will be able to get hands-on time with the game during an 8-hour testing session across June 28th and 29th. However, entry does require having a South Korean phone number. So there's everything we know so far about Aion 2. Overall, we're really curious to see how this one shapes up. We've been out of the loop with Aion for a while, so we're not fully sure what the current community sentiment is. But with so many MMOs on the horizon, we're just hoping that one of them finally lands and turns out to be something special. From the trailers, Aion 2 is looking pretty decent. The graphics in combat can feel a bit messy with all the particle effects, and sometimes it's hard to tell what's going on visually when the screen fills up. But at the same time, the feature set they've announced has definitely caught our attention. Things like the improved combat, PvP, and classes are right up our street, and we're excited to see if the game can deliver on those promises. If you have played Aion recently or have memories from the past, do tell us what your thoughts are on this down in the comments. And for now, we'll leave you with the trailer.